Nobody likes to admit it, but most betrayals don't begin with an attack. They begin with proximity. And here's a truth few dare to face. You're not betrayed by those who hate you, you're betrayed by those you trusted too much. It sounds harsh, I know, but that's exactly what Machiavelli understood when he spoke of politics guided by reality, not ideals. While most people live trying to be liked, accepted, validated, there's a game happening beneath the surface. A silent, strategic game where the appearance of virtue is worth more than real character, and those who don't see this end up playing without knowing the rules. Now think about it. How many times have you ignored a sign? That strange feeling, that behavior that didn't add up, that person who seemed too good, and yet you let it pass. Because trusting is more comfortable than questioning, because believing is easier than investigating. But the problem is that the cost of this doesn't appear immediately. It comes later, when it's too late, when the information has already been used, when your vulnerability has already become someone else's advantage. The end justifies the means, and some people apply this in real life without you realizing it. Not because they are bad, but because they operate based on real human nature. And this completely changes how you should view your relationships. But hold on, this isn't about paranoia. It's not about constantly distrusting everyone. It's about recognizing patterns. Because when you understand the game, you don't need to react with fear. You react strategically. You start to notice who's there for connection and who's there for convenience, who adds value and who calculates. And that's exactly what you're going to learn now. 3 simple but powerful signs that reveal more than any pretty speech. 3 patterns that once seen can no longer be ignored, because after understanding this, you'll never look at people the same way again. If something inside you awakened while listening, don't ignore that feeling. This channel isn't about videos, it's about memories. Remember who you were before the fear, before the exhaustion, before the silence. Each new video here is a different reflection of your own soul, an invitation to understand what the world never taught you. The power you seek outside has always been within you. If you feel that this journey speaks to what lives silently within you, sign up now. Not to follow yet another creator, but to reconnect with something the world tried to make you forget. Because here, every word was made to heal, each reflection to awaken, and each video serves as a reminder. You are not alone on the path back to yourself. Click on subscribe and turn the algorithm into a daily reminder of who you really are. He looks outside, thinking the danger comes from afar, but in practice, life teaches otherwise. It's not the stranger observing from the outside who poses the greatest threat. It's the one who has already crossed the threshold, sat at the table, and silently listened to your plans. There's a brutal difference between declared enemies and silent enemies. The first confronts you. The second studies you, and as Machiavelli already said, decisions based on real human nature require you to accept an uncomfortable truth. Not every smile is loyalty. Sometimes it's strategy. The average person prefers to believe they are surrounded by allies because it brings comfort, but those who play the game of life consciously understand that politics guided by reality, not ideals, demands constant vigilance, not paranoia, but perception. Because the game isn't about trusting everyone. It's about knowing who not to trust completely. And that changes everything. Think about how many times someone has praised you excessively, always been there for you, agreed with everything, and then, almost imperceptibly, started acting strangely. Small signs, subtle comments, strategic absences. This is not a coincidence. It's a pattern. The mistake most people make is believing that betrayal starts big, but it starts small, almost invisible. Machiavelli spoke about the appearance of virtue, and here this is evident. Many wear the mask of loyalty because they know that's how they enter your circle. It's not about friendship. It's about access. And when someone has access to your thoughts, fears, and plans, that person has power. And power, when poorly managed, becomes a risk. Therefore, avoiding being hated doesn't mean being naive. It means being strategic, knowing how to observe without exposing yourself too much. Or better yet, learning to listen more than you speak. Now, if he were practical and not just theoretical, he would start doing something simple but powerful, reviewing who has access to his life, who knows too much about you, who was present during your vulnerable moments, who asks many questions but shares little. This type of audit isn't coldness, it's applied emotional intelligence. A clear example: that colleague who always asks about your professional plans but never reveals their own. Or that friend who seems interested in everything but never truly takes a stand. That's information gathering, and those who gather information usually have intentions. This is where the concept of virtù and fortuna comes in. You don't control everything, but you can control how you react and who you keep close. Because in the end, it's not the one who blindly trusts who wins. It's the one who understands the game and adapts intelligently. And that's exactly where the next point begins, when the person not only gets close, but starts to become a reflection of you. It starts almost imperceptibly. A coincidence here, another there. At first, it seems like a connection. Similar tastes, aligned opinions, even the way of speaking begins to coincide. And then the person thinks, wow, I found someone just like me. But that's exactly where the danger lies. Not all similarity is natural. Some are constructed. Machiavelli already warned indirectly that those who wish to infiltrate must first appear familiar, and this doesn't happen by chance. It's a technique. The so-called tactical mirror functions as a tool for psychological approach. The person observes you, adapts their behavior, and creates the illusion of compatibility. It's not about friendship, it's about strategic access. And when you feel understood, you lower your guard. That's the point. If he were paying attention, he would notice small signs that shatter this illusion. For example, the person changes their opinion depending on who they are talking to. With you, they agree with everything. With others, they take different positions. Another classic sign is the speed of the connection. Everything happens too fast. In a few days, it already seems like you've known each other for years. This isn't depth. It's a well-executed performance. The appearance of virtue comes into play again. The person seems aligned, seems loyal, seems on the same wavelength. But in practice, they are just copying what works for you. And here comes a harsh rule of politics guided by reality, not ideals. Those who lack their own identity are usually trying to absorb yours, and this, in the game of power, is never neutral. Now, if you want to put this into practice, and this is where few people do, start testing consistency. It's that simple. Purposefully change your opinion on a subject and observe if the other person changes theirs as well. Share something slightly contradictory to what you've said before and see how they react. Genuine people maintain consistency. Tactical mirrors adapt in real time. Another powerful test: stop sharing so much, reduce your exposure, see if the person's interest diminishes. Because those who truly connect with you stay, but those who feed off your information lose interest. This is a calculated use of force, not physical, but psychological. You don't confront, you observe. And little by little you begin to understand who is there for connection and who is there for strategy. And when you begin to see this clearly, a new pattern emerges, one that doesn't imitate you, but bets on you only when it suits them. He doesn't disappear, he recalculates. This type is more sophisticated. He doesn't copy you, he doesn't overexpose himself. He observes your social value. While you're doing well, Growing, being validated, he's there, present, close, seemingly loyal. But at the first sign of instability, public criticism, a fall, exposure, he retreats. He becomes neutral, silent, and that's when the mask begins to fall. Machiavelli already made it clear, many don't follow you, they follow your moment. Their loyalty isn't to you, it's to what you represent. This is politics guided by reality, not by ideals. Harsh? Very, but real. This friend functions like an emotional investor. He hedges. If you rise, he gains proximity. If you fall, he protects his own image. And you, if you're not paying attention, interpret this as prudence, when in fact, it's calculation. Consider simple everyday situations. When someone speaks ill of you in a group, who takes a stand? Who defends you? And most importantly, who remains silent? Silence in this context is not neutrality, it's strategy. The status speculator avoids being hated by anyone. They don't commit. And that seems intelligent until you realize that this intelligence never works in your favor when it matters. A clear example: you're in a meeting, someone questions your abilities, and that close friend simply changes the subject or looks down. Later, in private, they say, "Dude, I agree with you, but I preferred not to get involved." That's not support. That's calculated absence. Better to be feared than loved? Maybe, but never irrelevant. Because whoever doesn't take a stand when necessary has, in practice, already chosen a side. They just haven't had the courage to admit it. If he were truly strategic, he would start mapping behavior under pressure. Because it's easy to be loyal when everything is going well. It's difficult to maintain a position when there's risk involved. A simple test: express an unpopular opinion in a safe environment and observe who publicly supports you. Or share a small criticism you received and see who helps you respond and who just listens in silence. These micro-situations reveal deep patterns. Here comes the concept of decisions based on real human nature. People protect their own image before protecting you, and that's okay, as long as you know it. The mistake is expecting loyalty from those who operate out of convenience, because in the end, it's not words in private that define alliances, it's actions in public. And when you start to see that, a third, even more dangerous profile emerges, the one that doesn't hide, but seems to protect you too much. This one doesn't hide. He approaches too quickly. He appears as a protector, a defender, almost a guardian of your image. He's always warning you, be careful with so-and-so. They're talking about you. I only want what's best for you. And at first, this seems like loyalty. It seems like someone who's on your side, willing to use force for you. But that's exactly where the danger lies, because this type doesn't protect you. He protects the space he's conquered in your life. Machiavelli spoke about the calculated use of force, and here that appears subtly. This shield uses information and fear as tools to become indispensable. He doesn't want you to trust him anymore. He wants you to depend on him, and dependence in the game of power is vulnerability. If you observe carefully, you'll notice a repetitive pattern. It always brings negative news, almost never positive. There's always someone against you, always a threat, always a risk. And, curiously, it's always at the center of this information. This isn't a coincidence. It's scenario building. The more you believe the outside world is hostile, the more you cling to whoever protects you. And that's how it starts to isolate you. First, it questions people around you. Then, it plants doubts. Finally, it makes you believe that only it is trustworthy. This is more common than it seems. A practical example: that colleague who keeps saying that others are envious of you, but never encourages you to strengthen other relationships. Or that friend who always arrives with gossip but never with solutions. This isn't care. It's control disguised as concern, an appearance of virtue once again. Now, if he wants to break this cycle, And here's the point few have the courage to apply. He needs to reverse the game. Instead of reacting emotionally, he starts validating information. He doesn't accept everything at first. He asks questions. He confirms. He observes directly. This dismantles the control. Another powerful strategy: expand your circle. Talk to other people. Create new connections. Test different versions of the same information. Because whoever depends on a single channel of truth is vulnerable to manipulation. This is constant adaptability. It's understanding that not every attack needs a defense, and not every defender is on your side. And when you start to see this clearly, you realize that perhaps the problem was never who was outside, but rather who you allowed to get too close. And that's exactly why, in the end, it all comes down to one thing: auditing. He spent too much time trying to understand the world, when in fact he should have started closer to home, his own table, his own relationships. Because in the end, it's not the big enemies that bring someone down, it's the small, poorly managed access points. And this is where the most ignored concept of all comes in: auditing people. It's not about becoming cold, it's about ceasing to be naive. Machiavelli never said to distrust everyone, but he made it clear that trusting without criteria is giving up control. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, demands this. Reviewing those around you with the same seriousness you would review an investment. Because in the end, people are assets or risks, and those who don't learn to differentiate pay the price. If he were practical, he would start today. No drama, no unnecessary confrontation, just strategic observation. He would take the three profiles and place them side by side: those who imitate too much, those who remain silent in public, and those who protect excessively. And then he would ask simple but uncomfortable questions. Who here remains consistent regardless of the scenario? Who here takes a stand when there is risk? Who here contributes without trying to control? This kind of clarity changes the game. A direct example: start reducing access silently. Share less, test more, observe reactions. You don't need to cut anyone off immediately, just adjust the level of closeness. This is a calculated use of force. It's not about attacking, it's about repositioning. Because avoiding being hated also means avoiding unnecessary conflicts, but never at the cost of your own emotional security. And in the end, the truth is simple. Nobody loses by being more selective about who they surround themselves with. But many lose by keeping the wrong people around them for too long. Virtue and fortune go hand in hand here. You don't control who crosses your path, but you control who stays in it. And that defines everything. Because the game was never about being loved by everyone, but about building a strong, loyal, and functional circle. Is it better to be feared than loved? Perhaps, but it's even better to be respected by those who truly deserve to be there. And when they finally understand this, they realize they don't need many people around them, they need the right ones. Because a poorly chosen circle not only holds you back, it silently destroys you. And those who learn to see this early on simply stop wasting energy where there was never true loyalty. Now tell me honestly, how many people in your circle have you never truly stopped to analyze? How many are there out of habit and not loyalty? Because after all this, ignoring these signs is no longer innocence. It's a choice, and choice has consequences. Machiavelli understood something that most avoid facing. The game of human relationships isn't about declared intention, it's about observed behavior. So the question that remains isn't who seems trustworthy. It's who remains trustworthy when the scenario changes, because that's when everything is revealed. It's in discomfort, it's under pressure, it's when risk appears. And if you truly want to level up, emotionally, mentally, and even financially, You need to stop subsidizing your own self-sabotage. This means adjusting your circle. It means reducing access, observing more, speaking less. It means applying the calculated use of force in your own life, not reacting impulsively, but acting strategically, because in the end, it's not your declared enemies who hold you back the most. It's the wrong connections you insist on maintaining. And this is more common than it seems. People who drain you, who observe, who calculate, while you're still trying to be accepted. Better to be feared than loved? Perhaps. But even better is to be respected by those who truly deserve to be by your side. Now let me challenge you. Who do you need to start observing more closely from today onwards? Who have you already noticed fits these patterns, but haven't yet had the courage to admit? And more importantly, what are you going to do with this information? Because knowledge without action changes nothing. If this content has opened your mind, then start applying it now. Review, adjust, reposition. And if you want to continue learning how to play this game intelligently, without naivete, without illusion, then subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Because here, you don't learn to be just another one. You learn not to be manipulated.